What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homertown Hockey. I think you might like it. My name's Phil Bittner. I'm joined by our hosts, Colton Gogger
What's going on?
and Trenton Fuller.
Hello.
We can't even get through the introductions. We're
I
garbage.
I just don't know what Trent's gonna say. Like last time we did this, he said he was lactose intolerant, and then today he just hits us with a nice hello.
Are you
like
actually
some Steve
lactose
Urkel
intolerant,
shit.
or was that a bit?
That was a bit.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna say, I'm
well,
pretty sure
tonight-
I've done at least one car bomb with you.
Oh, at
boy.
least. At least one.
Jesus.
Dude, the car
Well-
bomb is the ultimate. You can have one more drink and then we're leaving. Car bomb.
Ugh.
That,
Oh, yeah.
or what I used to do, when my ex-girlfriend said that one time at the beer stew, I went and bought a liter Stein.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I know. Not because it
Why
was
would you
too
do
much
that?
beer, but because I hate that I gave the dude that owns that bar my money. It was like a $20 drink.
I agree.
well,
Yeah, it is.
I still
Well,
have that liter
$13.50.
Stein, and it's a piece of shit and leaks. So I don't know why I still
I
have
mean-
this random liter mug from a bar owned by a douchebag that I'll never go back to, but...
oh my God. Well, now that we've burnt every possible sponsorship in Iowa down,
No,
Well,
that's
no,
back-
Illinois.
Oh, no.
Then the beer stew would never
I mean,
sponsor us
no.
anyways.
No.
Jesus. Well, welcome back to part 2 of our 5-part series as we ramp up towards the start of the NHL season. Tonight, we're looking at the Central Division. And for one, it's loaded. And two, we're starting with the team everybody expected us to start with, the Chicago Blackhawks. You ready to get into it?
Why is this the team everyone expected us to start with?
It's not the team everybody expected
Oh,
us to
okay.
start with.
Even with all
like
the
the
news
ghost
that
of
came out
Cody
today,
is haunting
people
us.
aren't
We're
gonna
still a
expect
Blackhawks podcast.
We are definitely not a Blackhawks podcast. If we turn into a Blackhawks podcast, I'm quitting.
Just wait till we
A
have
second
Will.
motion. Nope.
Jesus.
Nope.
All right.
Will's not allowed
All right.
anymore. No more Blackhawks. Let's talk about the Blackhawks.
Let's talk about the Blackhawks. Some pretty big news came out this afternoon in regards to the Chicago Blackhawks captain, Jonathan Toews. The team announced that he would be missing an indefinite amount of time with an undisclosed illness. Jonathan himself put out a statement saying, "This offseason, I have been experiencing symptoms that have left me feeling drained and lethargic. I'm working with doctors so I can better understand my condition until I get my health back to a place where I feel like I can perform at an elite level and help my team. I will not be joining the Blackhawks for training camp. I do not have a timetable for my return. I'm extremely disappointed, but it wouldn't be fair for me or my teammates to attempt to play in my current condition." So hopefully there's nothing seriously wrong with Jonathan Toews. I know that none of us are truly Blackhawks fans, but we do hope for the best for Jonathan Toews right now.
I like that Jonathan Toews in his statement asked that people respect his privacy, and everyone's reaction to that was to immediately start like armchair diagnosing what it is.
Right.
I saw
right.
one person
Everybody's like,
say
"Oh,
something about Lyme's disease, and then someone else said like, "That was the first thing I thought," and the person was like, "Yeah, and that's a thing that sometimes doctors forget to check for." And I was glad that someone else said it, so I didn't have to, because I'm on a 3-day mute from Facebook right now. But
I just love that.
Ugh.
I love that in the age of 2020, we all have become literal armchair doctors.
yeah.
Like somebody even has a cough, it's the vid. You
Well,
gotta go
and
get
someone else
checked.
pointed out, it's like NHL players get a little bit more thorough of a physical than you get.
Right.
It's like
Right.
I don't think
Just a little.
NHL doctors, like, if it were Lyme's disease and they found out, they'd be like, never thought of that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
no,
dumb.
yeah, no, like,
I think he's
Uh,
just sick as Bowman. I had to say it.
You did. You did have to say it.
At least,
no, but like I
like
said,
most armchair diagnoses are pulled out of nowhere. That one does have some like substantiated fact to it.
right.
It's obviously not why he's out, but he's clearly sick of Bowman.
Probably not. But
No,
Probably.
it's not.
don't think he's the only one on the team sick of Bowman.
Well, let's get into why.
Well, let's get into why, and well, let's start with the fact that after the qualifiers, he essentially said they were committed to rebuilding the team, and then 3 weeks ago he said, well, "I never said that." In fact, he got a promotion. So there's part one for the Chicago Blackhawks. Part two is you have 3 goalies, and only one of them has more than 50 games played in the NHL, and that's Malcolm Subban.
Yeah.
So there's another thing.
I'll say this. I have some faith in Colin Delia.
He's shown bright spots, that's for sure.
Stan Bowman has a bright future with like all of the unearned upwards mobility he's been earning. He is on pace for the Republican nomination in 2024.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Ooh, we're political now.
Oh boy. Oh lord.
What's up, everybody?
part
Welcome to
3 of
Leftist
this-
Town Hockey.
Nope.
Let's talk about the proletariat, boys.
Oh boy.
No,
Part
go
3
ahead.
of
Sorry.
No, you're good. Part 3 of the shit sandwich for the Blackhawks is that Kirby Dach fractured his wrist at the World Juniors tournament. He's going to be out for 4 to 5 months because he had surgery today. So now with Taves and Kirby Dach being out, the Blackhawks are down their top 2 centers, and they have a super young decor that is going to create a ton of problems for 3 inexperienced goaltenders. And they have a GM who basically says they want to rebuild, but also they don't want to rebuild. So who wants to tackle this shit sandwich that is the Chicago Blackhawks?
Okay, so first, one thing, touching on Kirby Dach. Obviously, this is terrible for the Blackhawks. It's terrible for a young player. Long-term effects, the worst part about this for the world of hockey in general is say goodbye to any chance of NHL teams releasing their players for the World Juniors fucking ever again.
Straight up.
Everyone thought it was so cool that the Blackhawks did it, and he almost immediately, on the most awkward, everyday, harmless play, like, his wrist, like Zoltan.
It's an accordion.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's one of the ugliest wrists I've ever seen.
Did you guys hear what he said about it? What Kirby said about it today?
No.
He said he thought his stick snapped because that's what it sounded like.
Oh, boy. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the poor kid.
So we're gonna
man.
wrap. Yeah. That's
And
that's
he
awful.
said fuck a million times on his way off the ice.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing looking good for the Blackhawks at the moment, especially being sandwiched in a loaded Central Division this year with realignment. So I think we can all comfortably say they're probably going to not have a great season.
In the
Are we
sake
starting
of
from the
finding
bottom
one
and going-
positive for the Blackhawks,
Yes, we should do that. Yes, obviously.
okay, well, one positive for the Blackhawks is at the end of the season, there will be one less year on all those contracts.
Yikes.
That's it.
Yikes.
Can we think of any more
and
positives for them?
We're probably not going to have to hear Chelsea Dagger all the time this year.
If
They'll
Colin-
probably still play it if they do win.
Oh, Chelsea, yeah.
That song sucks. Fuck the Fratellis. God damn it.
Damn. I'm going to play that as outro music just for you.
I've threatened it once. I'll threaten it again. I'll quit the fucking podcast.
I will play it very lightly in the background over this whole part of the episode.
You're just gonna hear us talking, just here.
I'm watching the time to try to stay on this subject for just the exact length of the song because I happen to know
Well,
it,
now
I guess. Anyways,
Well, now
no,
now
can
we're
we
moving
think
on
of
to the
any
true
other
favorite.
Oh, yeah, one other plus
No.
I can think of. If Delia does play okay, because I do actually like that kid, if he plays okay, at least it's like he's really playing okay. Because he's certainly not going
Right,
to be
yeah,
fucking
for
getting
sure.
bailed out by anybody on that team for a while.
Absolutely not. But
So
yeah,
that's fun. They're able to use the name Blackhawks for one more year.
oh, there you go. Good
There
job,
we go.
guys. I'm
Yeah,
really
one
proud
more
of us
year,
right now.
they're getting
I'm really
away with
proud
it.
of us. Really proud of
and
us
also,
for that.
this is a good chance for them to see what it's going to be like when Alex DeBrincat is the best player on their team. And we will see whether or not that's a good or bad thing.
That's scary.
I'm inclined to believe that
Yeah.
DeBrincat being the best guy on your team isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, as long as you have depth. But we'll see, because that's going to be the case.
We'll find out.
Well, Kane, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting older.
Well,
He was supposed to retire this year.
Was he?
yeah. Have you heard this? Have you heard this asinine theory that Trenton Fuller has?
No.
That was last year. I've got a new one.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
Refresh us on last year, because I did delete all the old episodes.
Oh no! When we just had the one random prediction that we had for the year, I predicted that
That's right.
Patrick Kane would retire at the end of the season.
I do remember that. Okay,
Okay.
never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Clearly, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck
Now
you,
let's
Colton,
move
for
on.
making it sound like there was a story to that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still dumb. Either way, it's dumb.
You're dumb.
True.
Moving on to the favorite to win this division. This division. That's the Tampa Bay Lightning, your defending Stanley Cup champions. The biggest thing with this team is they're still very, very good, even with Nikita Kucherov being out for the season and maybe even longer after having his hip surgery a couple weeks ago. That team's just going to be good. They re-signed Anthony Cirelli to a new 3-year deal. The biggest question with them is they have a weird cap situation coming up on the horizon next year with some bigger contracts expiring. Stamkos may or may not be healthy for the start of camp. This team's just good. They're built to
Tuesday in
win.
Tampa Bay.
Right, yeah. I mean, they're good. They're built to win. What do you guys have to say?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, especially if Kucherov can come back for the playoffs. Tampa Bay's sick. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about them that I haven't said every time they've ever come up and will come up. Like, the team's just ridiculously good. They are able... I hate to fucking say something so oversaid on another podcast, but the no state tax really does help a lot with them being able to lock down talent at a lower pay rate. And especially when on top of that you can lock down talent who's going to get to look better playing with great players and in the meantime have a chance at winning a cup. So Tampa Bay just seems like one of those teams because of the way that they don't pay out that much. They're nasty and they're gonna be for a long time. Like, do you really see Tampa Bay falling off anytime, like, even remotely soon? The way that they bring up young guys, eventually the pipeline will dry a little. But in the meantime, you know, when all those guys that they're not going to quite keep that are good, when they trade those, they can get the picks to replenish that too. So
Did you guys see the move that they made a couple days ago?
Which one's that?
They traded Braden Coburn and Cedric Paquette and a pick to the Senators for Marian Gaborik and Anders Nilsson.
I did see that because I remember a lot of people at once collectively saying, Gaborik's still in the league?
Thank you. You guys shit on me last night for how I said Bogosian, and we're not gonna shit on him for how he just said Marian Gabourik's fucking name.
Oh, I wasn't even going
How
to
did I
bring
say
that
it?
part up. I was
Black?
just saying the fact that everyone's reaction
Okay.
to that trade was, I didn't know Gabrick was still playing. But yes, that was a hideous pronunciation of Gabrick, which
Whatever.
apparently Colton has been waiting for you to
Boy.
do.
That's fine.
Um, to wrap up the Lightning really quick, my hot take with them is I have them going back to back.
Oh,
I mean,
back
it's,
to back,
They,
huh?
I
it's
mean,
not the
Miranda
hottest
thought
or
that
most
take was so
unrealistic
dumb.
take.
No, it's not. That's a plug and play team. That's how good they are. Oh,
Yeah.
Kucherov's out. We'll fucking plug somebody else in. They don't have Stamkos. We proved we didn't need him last year. Like, they'll be fine. They'll be 100% okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
Trent, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
Okay. Damn, 2 weeks in a row, one of us did that. Colt's next.
It's gonna happen.
It won't happen to Cole. He
we're gonna
takes
move.
notes.
Lots of Moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes. The biggest thing is that they returned a lot of the team from last year. The only thing they really lost was some of the older guys. They want to keep building. They're really close to making a big push at a cup. Jesper Fast adds another playmaker to that team. You have Andrei Svechnikov, who's arguably the next big superstar in the NHL, and he's only 20 years old, and they're already talking contract extension for him. And he's on a line with Sebastian Aho and Teuvo Teravainen. Like, that's just nuts. The biggest question mark with them is they're going to go into the season with Mrazek and Reimer as their goalies. Oh, and they're both free agents at the end of the year, and they have no goalies in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So if this team wants to make a step, are they really just going to roll with Mrazek and Reimer?
I mean, they won with a fucking Zamboni driver, Colt. What do you need? The team
yes, we got there. We got there.
The team has the puck all game. It doesn't really fucking matter who's in net at that point. And also, this is a small factor, but even like their goalie save percentages might not be quite as good as they should be, because that's one of the teams that is goalies think that the scorekeepers in Carolina don't count, or more strict about what they call a shot on goal. So even those guys might be putting up, it's a weird little thing to pick at, but potentially with different scorekeepers, according to some other goalies, could have even better numbers. But that aside, I mean, even before they got good, Carolina were analytic darlings because they have the puck all the time. And now that they're finally starting to build a team that can actually do something with it, I don't think they're ready. I agree that they have a big cup push coming up. I don't think it's this year, partially because I've been burned too many times fucking getting too high on Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I expect everything for them to take twice as long as I think it should. But yeah, I don't know. I think this year I even see them like being one of those teams that could kind of randomly end up in like the conference final. But like that team that it's like they're not going to get much further than this.
What do you think, Trent?
The same exact thing. I think they're going to be competitive, but I don't know how competitive they'll be once the playoffs start because of their just inconsistent play.
Well, this goes for
And it's do the storm surge because nobody's there.
This goes for a lot of teams, but they're going to be playing a lot of teams that they usually don't play at all, other than 2 games a year, 8 times. But the way they play, I think that's a disadvantage to the other team having to play them 8 times, because they have I don't know, I don't really want to call it unique because it's not like super complex or anything, but just the way that they're able to keep the puck all night is not something you see a lot. They are, as far as I know, still the best team in the league for those numbers. And that's something the other team has to adapt to more than they have to adapt to other teams.
Right. They did it really well in the bubble too. Like they had really high possession rates in the bubble. They're gonna be good. The
Well, look at
thing
what
is, like
happened
you
to
said,
Justin Falk one season away from them, playing with another team that has great defense in St. Louis. But he just
hmm
fell off so hard out of that system.
right,
And the
for
only
sure.
goalie that can't play behind them is
Um,
Scott Darling.
oh boy,
He got a
oh boy.
PTO today.
Yes, he did.
Who was that with?
It was with, I want to say St. Louis. I have it here. Hold on. He
This is good radio.
got a. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're killing
How you doing?
it.
How you doing? Florida.
Florida. Boy,
Florida.
you sign a $10 million goalie 1 year, and then you put fucking Scott Darling on a PTO the next. That's tough.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a look.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Let's get to
So
our
let's
next
move
team.
this thing. Yeah, let's move this thing on to the Dallas Stars. Dallas is coming up or coming off of a Stanley Cup run last season in the bubble. Obviously, got eliminated by the Lightning. They found a goalie maybe in Anton Godovin, and they paid him for that run. This is a really strong team defensively with Klingberg and Miro Hiskinen and Ollie, Jake Ulrich or whatever the fuck. It's pronounced like Olrich, Alexei Oliak.
Steve Alexiak?
Thank you. I'm really bad with names.
That's one of the
Especially
guys you're
these
seeing as a key
fucking-
to Dallas's success?
Man, I just have these listed in my defensive notes, okay?
He's good, but the
shut up.
Penguins traded a draft pick for him, helped develop him, and then a year later traded him back for the same draft pick back.
Whatever.
This is one of the strangest things I've ever seen. He got knocked out by Tom Wilson, and we didn't want him anymore.
Good Lord. Dallas didn't make a ton of moves. Apparently, the front office said they didn't feel like they needed to. It was a lot of kind of minor stuff that they did. They bring back Rich Bonus as their head coach after his interim status, so he's now the full-time head coach. And then Tyler Seguin and Ben Bishop are both going to be out 5+ months. Seguin with hip surgery and Bishop with a knee surgery. Dallas is going to be Dallas. They're going to be consistent. They're going to be super hard to play defensively. My biggest question is, are they going to be able to put a whole season together and actually get a cup run done?
Trent, you go ahead. I led the last couple teams.
I just know that they didn't re-sign Corey Perry. He got picked up by Montreal. That was the only news that I heard from Dallas lately.
Okay,
I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing for Dallas. I think it's good that he's not on their team anymore. They're not going to have as big of a target.
Yeah, that's
Fair.
what I kind of was just thinking about Dallas is, imagine being Corey Perry and this team that you went to the finals with is like, yeah, we think we have a good team. We don't really need to change anything. And you're like, fuck yeah, let's go, boys. And they're like, not you.
Not you. Not you.
we don't need to change anything. Hell yeah. Except
Hell yeah.
Classic.
we're just
The
going to
Winter Classic
quietly
hit
not invite
Georgia's-
you back.
You know what Dallas did do this offseason, though? Brought the 2 worst jerseys I've ever seen into the NHL for this
No
season.
way, dude. The
Those
Gatorade
are
ones are
not the best.
tight.
The neon green ones are hideous.
I like them. They
Idiot.
remind me.
It's blind. Your opinion on this doesn't matter.
Okay.
The reverse retro one is terrible. The neon green one is atrocious. They're both
Yeah.
so bad.
I don't like the reverse retro. I like the neon green.
I think you have the wrong opinion, sir.
I think you do too. Alright. let's move this thing on to the Nashville Predators. This team was a team last year that was atrocious on special teams, close to the bottom of the league in both power play and penalty kill. They were just terrible. It burned them to the ground when they got to the bubble against the Coyotes. They bring back John Hines as a head coach, so he keeps his head coaching status after another interim status. Two big questions with them is, can the core of Arvidsson, Johansson, Forsberg, and Duchesne rebound this year? They weren't awful last year. They just didn't put up the numbers a lot of people thought they would, especially a guy like Philip Forsberg. He kind of disappeared last year. And then sounds like Saros is going to take over as goaltender 1A over Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, a big thing for Nashville last year was they've had an annual Vezina contender, and then probably one of the best backups in the league in Saros for a few years now, and then just both of them were dog shit last year. And when they don't have that goaltending on the back end, the way they play, this is a team that at their best, their success is as flimsy as relying on Craig Smith.
Who's now in Boston.
And he's a good player. When they lived and died on him scoring 25 to 30 goals, though. He's going to be a second-line winger for you guys. That's a great place to have Craig Smith. But so much of their success, and Philip Forsberg, great player. I think he's more of a highlight reel player than someone you really want to rely on. And that's the thing. It's got that's another guy. That's to me a flimsy foundation to need to have in order to be successful, especially when you're not getting that goaltending from Rinne and Saros.
They didn't really do anything either to this more for Trent. I don't know how much attention he paid, but what can they do to help that special teams, because they were really bad last year?
I think they just need to get new people in to kind of teach, because it seemed like they were the games that I did see, they weren't terrible. They just weren't finishing the play. They just have to find a finisher,
right?
Elite goal scorer, and I just don't think that anybody on that team is more than just flash, and at some points can find the back of the net.
Do we think
it seems
Duchesne
like they really want.
We think Duchesne can have a prime age resurgence?
No, he's a second line center on that team. No. And
what they need to do is just clone Roman Yossi 5 times.
Yes.
What they need is 2017 Ryan Johansson.
Which that's not happening.
Ever again. Nope. For anyone.
Ever again. No.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah.
Didn't even happen for his former team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who's our next fucking topic?
Well, they're less fucked than Nashville.
They are less fucked than Nashville. But here's an interesting stat about the Columbus Blue Jackets from last year. They averaged 2.57 goals a game. Only 3 teams averaged fewer. None of those 3 teams made the bubble. And then the 2 teams above them also didn't make the bubble. So they couldn't score last year, at all.
Says Elvis.
It's true.
John Tortorella's gone pretty far with teams that can't score.
Apparently. They also were they got bit by the injury bug pretty hard last year. Seth Jones and Cam Atkinson both missed significant amount of time.
Zach Reinke missed a lot of time too.
Reinke missed a lot of time. They also were a team that thought they were in a good spot this offseason. They basically said we didn't need to make too many moves, and their biggest move was arguably bringing in Max Domi, which I want to see the Domi-Tortorella fist fight after 10 games. That's all I want to see. That's all I want to see. I just want
to
to.
the way to the locker room.
I think Max
Oh,
Domi's
yeah.
a good player to bring in, though, especially for a team like Columbus that doesn't need a superstar.
And that just lost Josh Anderson.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big loss, but it'd be interesting to see what Domi could do in a change of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
The Blue Jackets also did bring in Mikko Koivu to be team dad / third line center, so that's kind of something.
like the
How do you feel
Tortorella
about
whisperer.
I have mixed feelings about Mikko going to Columbus. I'm happy he's getting potentially his one last run, but also I saw his body language when the Wild got eliminated in the bubble, and he seemed like a guy who was emotionally done with hockey. Um, just that thing that some older players do when they know it's over. They stay out on the ice. They're kind of he just looked done, and all the press conferences for the week or two after, he seemed done.
He had that
It just
Ryan O'Reilly in Buffalo look.
Yeah, he did have that Ryan O'Reilly in Buffalo look. It just delays him getting his number retired in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
good for him. Do whatever.
Yeah.
So, he was the second longest serving captain in the NHL. Active serving captain in the NHL.
Who's the longest? Crosby?
There's only
Chara.
Sidney Crosby.
Crosby was the captain before Chara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Something new today.
Chara on Boston yet when Crosby got drafted?
No, he was still in
Ottawa.
Yeah, he was still in Ottawa at that time.
I saw him in person in Ottawa.
Really?
Yeah, Penguins won that game.
I'd be more stunned if you said you saw Chara when he was playing in a Fisherman jersey, but
That
the
would be
timing
tight.
works out more on the Ottawa one.
Yeah.
The only time
That
I've
would
seen
be
the
tight.
Islanders in person was the year after the back-to-backs, and then they beat us, and then they swept us in those playoffs. Or no, it was that year. They swept us in the playoffs. I saw them in the regular season, and they beat the shit out of us.
There is nothing more hilarious than those pictures of Zdeno Chara in a Fisherman jersey because he's so big in that jersey.
Like just awkward.
It does. It looks
awkward.
Weird.
Yeah, but like, don't tell him we said that.
At all.
No.
I'll tell him that he looks awkward on the ice in an Islanders jersey. I'm not gonna say he was bad. I'll say it looked weird. You were tall and gangly, dude.
Call him a goofy fucker and see what happens. Speaking,
man, we have way too few listeners to be demonizing the tall and gangly.
Whatever. That means we can't get repercussions.
Will is one of our only listeners.
Well, fuck Will. Tall, gangly bastard.
He knows he's tall and gangly, right? Like, I don't think we're pointing anything out.
All right. What team are we on?
We're going to the Florida Panthers now, and I was trying to work in a tall and gangly transition to the Florida Panthers, but I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Coach Q.
Coach Q is not tall and gangly. He's more walrus shaped, if anything. But speaking of Coach Q, it is year 2 in the Joe Quenneville regime for Florida, and year 1 didn't really do anything at all. Bobrovsky really struggled in his first year under that new mega deal he got. They bring in Hornquist, Gudas, and Hinostroza this offseason, which is like, okay. But the big loss is Mike Hoffman.
Yeah.
So that's going to be huge. I have nothing to say about Florida because it's Florida. They're just doing what the Panthers do in existing.
I want them to be good so bad.
Yeah.
I do too. Like, that's the worst part. Is that it'd be sick to see a 90s style Panthers run again.
Yeah. They have so many likable players. You what?
Mm-hmm. So I want to see Barkov win something.
Yeah, that dude. All of their good like Barkov, Huberto, Yandel, Ekblad. All those guys are so likable.
Super likable.
Uyghur. Nola Chari might actually be one of the most underrated players. Not like when people say Barkov, even though enough people say it that he's not fucking underrated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Nola Chari is like the type of guy I think of when I think of players that are actually underrated because people actually don't all know who he is.
So mad that Boston got rid of him. So mad.
Because he's
Well, they
sick.
didn't get rid of him. They just didn't
Yeah.
sign him.
Yeah, a lot of people still just know him as the guy that got tripped.
Oh God, I forgot
He
about
didn't
that.
get tripped. He
I
didn't get
forgot
tripped.
about that.
Yeah, no, he
According to everybody except the people watching the game.
It was a pretty bad non-call.
It was
That
real
led
bad.
directly to a goal.
Yeah.
They always do, though. They always directly lead.
The
To
worst
some
thing
fuck
that can
shit.
happen in the NHL always does.
So we're gonna wrap up.
Everything you need to know about the NHL. There it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we are gonna wrap up the Central Division with the human dumpster fire that is your Detroit Red Wings. I don't know
were
if
we
there are
done with
anybody
the
here,
Panthers?
but yeah, we're done. There's nothing else to say.
Oh,
There's just nothing else to
I
say.
think they might
Yeah, I
be
got
okay.
nothing.
I don't think that Bobrovsky being that bad last year is like the new Bobrovsky. I think he had a bad season.
Let's
We'll
hope
see.
so.
And if
Well,
you
for the
look,
Patriots'
he,
sake.
he wasn't that bad every night. It's just the nights he was bad, he gave up a fuck ton of
He was
goals that just
really
ravaged his
bad.
numbers. He had a lot of just fine games.
I don't think they're a bad team defensively either. Like they have pieces on that blue line to be decent. I just don't think there's enough to help Bobrovsky out.
I've seen the Penguins win Stanley Cups with defenses just as bad as the Panthers' defense.
Okay, sick. My team wins. Brag.
No, I'm just saying, like, I've seen a team win the cup with Ron Hainsey playing 20 minutes a night. So I think their defense is fine. It's not what you want necessarily, but it's fine.
But by God, it's what you're gonna get.
Right? It's the defense they deserve.
Not the defense they deserve.
Oh, man, I don't know. Maybe it's the defense that their lack of fans deserves. I don't know. I lost that one. It got away from me.
Yeah. Should we just move on to the Red Wings now?
Now we
so we
can.
can wrap
Hold
up.
on. Will their
Hold on, hold on.
Will their attendance be the same this year as it was last year?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be more because it might be the only place you get to go see an in-person NHL game this year.
There's going to be a lot of visitors.
With like
Tell you what.
bubble off seating, they break like decades attendance
Breaking attendance
records. Their best attendance of the 2000s.
The 2021 season.
Perfect.
Now there's a story. Now that should be the mission of this podcast: is to get the Florida Panthers to break their attendance record.
Dude, it's Florida.
That should be the mission.
Tacky
We can give them free
giveaways
tickets.
and cheap beer nights will sell that stadium out.
Bro, but that's the thing. It's like when people are like, "Oh,
Arena.
hockey," like, well, it's like hockey doesn't work in Florida. Just look at the Panthers. I'm like, you're completely ignoring the Lightning. Completely. They have 2 Stanley Cups now. They do really well attendance-wise every year, but everybody just looks at how terrible those Panthers games are attended, and they're just like, "See, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works. Trust me."
Yeah, and if you look at
There's
Tampa,
even
they've had good numbers ever since a reasonable time to expect it to take for a team to build a solid fan base.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and even with the Panthers, like, it's a horribly placed stadium. You can't really blame I mean, to some degree, like, a lot of
Yeah.
people would drive to
It's
see
not-
that team, but a lot of people won't.
Sunrise is in a weird area.
Yeah.
Like where that stadium is in a weird area.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help anything.
All right. Well, we
But
at
yeah.
least didn't just completely breeze over the Panthers. Let's talk shit about the
Yeah.
Red Wings.
All right. You guys ready to hear this barn burner of a stat?
Oh boy.
Let's go. I've been waiting for this.
In 71 games last year, the Detroit Red Wings rattled up 39 points. That is the worst point percentage in the cap era.
Like goals or point?
No,
No.
point. Like,
Win.
no.
In the
They rattled up
standings.
39. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my
They
god,
rattled up
39 goals
39
would be
points.
insane.
Hey, last year's Detroit, I could see
Hey,
it.
I'm gonna say, I'm sure it felt like that for some Red Wings fans.
Unless
But
they were playing Montreal, right? They swept Montreal.
yeah,
Dude, that's insane because that 2014 to 15 Buffalo Sabres team was fucking terrible.
still the word. Like, and
It
that's the
still
thing. That's
didn't
when I
get
read it.
McDavid.
Right. When I read that though, I was like, "There's no way that's right." Yep. No, but it's right. Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
I
wow.
wonder how bad it would have been if they got to 82 games.
It would have been so bad. I bet they wouldn't have crossed the 45-point mark.
Probably not.
Detroit's really
yeah.
bad at hockey.
Really bad.
It's really, though,
but
I don't know.
there's
Isn't it kind of fun to watch the Red Wings suck?
After 26, is it 26, 27 straight years in the
27
playoffs?
straight years in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, you don't like them, Phil, because you have like some weird Marion Hossa-based rivalry with the Red Wings.
I didn't like them before that. I was a fucking Colorado fan, dude. Not a Colorado fan, but I always really liked those Avalanche teams. I'm not gonna do the bit where I start naming off every player I can think of for 2 minutes, but
Please don't. Please don't.
That's
but yeah,
next
no,
week.
I hated
Yeah.
I hated Detroit long before that, and even without Hossa, they just beat us in a final. I would have disliked them even
Right.
if they didn't get Hossa. The fact that that little bitch
Right.
jumped ship and went over to them is a whole separate issue. Fuck that dude.
We're not going to start that issue tonight. We'll talk about that when we get to the Eastern Division. But yeah, so there's some good and there's some bad with the Red Wings offseason. The good is they showed a little bit of signs of optimism. They gave their team flexibility. They bring in Mark Stahl, Bobby Ryan, and the Nemetsnikov dude. All three of those guys are on 1 to 2 year deals that I can't pronounce these fucking Russian
I just
names,
like
'cause
how
you're
as soon
laughing
as you
'cause
can't pronounce it, it becomes that Nemesnikov dude. Like you're describing a
do the
guy
Russian
across the
names.
bar.
They're all on 1 to 2 year deals that are easily they can get out of those deals if they want to really easily, and they're not for a ton of money. They got rid of Jimmy Howard and bring in Thomas Greiss to have Jonathan Bernier back him up. Again, not a huge deal, but Greiss had a nice season with the Islanders. Had a couple nice seasons with the Islanders now. The bad thing with the Red Wings is that their big promising prospects are still in Europe right now. And bringing in some of these older guys might block the path for some of the younger prospects that are actually in the AHL. And that's kind of the big question mark is that going to happen? And they're going to kind of leave themselves out in the cold with having these really good young players sitting in the AHL when you have these older guys that you just brought in blocking their path.
Kind of like the problem with Ottawa, where they have all these young guys that they need to get some experience in the NHL, and they're not going to be able to.
Except Detroit's going to be terrible, and Ottawa's going to be like close to a bubble team.
No, I don't think any of us have said. I think you're the only one who said that Ottawa's going to be as good as you think they're going to be.
Yeah, that's my hot take for this year. Ottawa's going to be not like good, but kind of good. They're going to be good for a shitty team.
Right. Well, my hot take is this Red Wings team's gonna be fucking awful
That's
again.
that's a super hot take.
Is that a hot take?
It's so hot it's cold. That's
Are they
how
going
hot
to be
it
better
is.
or worse than the Blackhawks without their top two centers?
Listen, if Detroit might have a competitor for the worst record in the league this year,
And they're both in the same division.
they're both in the same division. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like,
That's
there wasn't much they can do. They needed to add scoring because you can't keep relying on Larkin, Bertuzzi, and Manta, and they didn't do that. They just didn't do it. Tell me everything you want about the years Bobby Ryan has had, but it's done. It's over. They did some things you like from a front office standpoint of like, hey, you brought in these guys because they're older and will help you, but also at the same time, they're not going to bring you opportunities to physically turn around your franchise until your European players come over.
Yeah, like I would really like to see a team pick up Bobby Price or holy fuck.
Bobby Price?
Bobby Ryan for the price they did. If the team was gonna be any good and he was an addition to a team that doesn't fucking suck.
Right.
Like,
I just hope for his sake that Detroit does better than Ottawa did.
In what aspect?
Because if he had, that's gonna sound really bad.
You're
I'm gonna
talking about the
say-
alcoholism thing?
Yeah, like if that happened when he was in Ottawa, Detroit's gonna be worse.
Just gonna go out there and say it. I know he's beating around the bush. Might as well just be like,
See, I started that as it was gonna be bad.
I think he'll be able
And
to
you
stay
guys made me
sober in
think of it,
Detroit. God damn it.
I don't know.
That's
Can we just all agree Detroit's not gonna be very good?
Yes.
Agreed.
Or Phil, do you have some dumb take about that? Hey, they're better than you think they are.
No, Detroit sucks ass. Ottawa is better than you think they are. They
Fair.
got Matt Murray, dude.
You said on this podcast you don't judge Matt Murray by the streakiness, but you judge him by the week he's having. Like that, you hate Matt Murray.
Oh, I hate Matt Murray.
Bullshit.
I like Matt Murray. I always defended Matt Murray. I think he played for a team that doesn't fucking help goalies out at all.
True.
He doesn't have the best glove hand. Most goalies don't, but he played for a team that let everyone shoot at his glove hand all fucking night. I think Matt Murray's a good goalie. Come at me like I hate Matt Murray. I almost got a Matt Murray Stanley Cup bobblehead on eBay the other night, motherfucker.
Oh my god. Well, let's wrap up. Oh boy. Let's wrap up this Central Division. Trent, I want to ask you, who's your favorite coming out of the Central, and why?
If anybody says anything other than Tampa Bay, they're wrong.
Right.
And that's why.
I agree with that.
Right. I agree. I 100% agree. The only thing that would derail that is if they somehow get more beat up than they're not beat up right now, other than Kucherov.
If
But if they-
Vasilevsky
Or
gets
the-
a season-ending injury, that's the only way.
Or the Florida Panthers, who are better than you guys think.
God damn it.
That's my better than you think from this division.
My better than you think. Okay, well, let's do that then. Who do you think could be a surprise in this division then? Like,
Florida.
legitimately think could be a surprise.
I really do. Florida, I think, has a very potent offense that I don't really feel like we needed to get into because I think it's kind of a given. And I didn't realize we only had one team left after them at the time. But, yeah.
I mean, you can get into it quick if you want.
Oh, I just think,
Yeah.
Florida has a lot of playmakers. We already talked about Barkov. Jonathan Huberdeau is ridiculous. And he, especially last year, got real ridiculous. I think that if they get a decent showing out of Sergei Bobrovsky to where they don't have to outscore teams all the time. They'll just do it anyways, but also be able to win low-scoring games.
I got you. Trent, who is your surprise from this division?
Columbus. I think they're going to do a lot better than what people think. I think they'll be top 3.
It's a Tortorella team, and those are never really predictable.
See, I would put them
in a
more
sense.
coming into 4th, but I don't think anyone really expects Columbus to be bad. When they let all those free agents go, they said we're not worried about it because we know what we have in our pipeline. And they had a point in time where like half the team was part of that pipeline, and they were still winning games.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I do. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think they'd be like 3rd, 4th. But yeah, I easily see them being at least in the chase for it, fighting off Florida.
Mm-hmm. I like Carolina. That team is really high powered. They play a really fun style of hockey. They did enough this offseason, I think, to stay as a contender. My big question is their goaltending, but I really do like the Hurricanes coming out of here and potentially making a run if Tampa Bay, for whatever reason, falls off.
And they really piss off the Don Cherries of the world.
They really, and that's the
and
best
you
part
love
about
to
them.
see it.
You love when Don Cherry hates you. You did something fucking right.
Yep.
That's exactly it. So, with all that being said, we will come at you guys with part 3 of our preview with the Western Conference. And I'll have a lot of things to yell at you about how the Minnesota Wild aren't as fucking terrible as everybody seems to think they are.
Oh, so they're going to be the Ottawa of the West?
They are going to be the Ottawa of my Western Conference, baby.
Colt's going to show up with some erotic fan fiction, fucking locked and loaded.
No, because I can't write it anymore because Jason Zucker plays for the fucking Pittsburgh Penguins.
I was just about to say,
so
he's
it doesn't
actually
even
going to save that for when we do the Penguins.
You're right. You're right. You're going to have to hear all about Jason Zucker being a Pittsburgh Penguin and how I think he's going to win a fucking Hart Trophy and a Conn Smythe.
I'm not against it.
What?
And it's for selfish reasons. It's not even for you. It's all for me.
I don't care who it's for.
I got to get my Jason Zucker leg tattoo at some point. I just got to get him holding up a cup. If I did that before the Penguins won a cup, would you ever talk to me? Like, if I did it, be like, see, they're going to win this year, so I just got it done already. And they, like, lost in Game 7 in overtime. How mad would you be?
I think you'd be more mad than you would be.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now you just got a pointless tattoo.
Not my team. It's not my team.
No,
Those are just
I'm
dreams,
very
Trent.
jokingly
Those
suspicious.
are just dreams.
I don't actually get upset about that unless it's Liam.
And with that, I'll end this podcast by saying, "Fuck you, Liam Connery."
Hell yeah! Let's
everybody
end this
have a great
with an
night.
inside joke.
My name is Trenton Fuller, and I approve of this message.